නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දන්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දන්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දන්ස. Homage to the exalted one, the worthy one, the supremely enlightened one. Venerable sirs, nuns, friends in the Dhamma, in last discussion we were discussing about the Dhamma, the Buddha's discovery and its qualities. We discussed what the Buddha taught and also the qualities of the Dhamma. Especially, we said that this is an ancient path. Buddha says in Nagara Sutta, this is not a new path. This is an ancient path that all the Buddhas who appear in this world, from time to time, they discover and they proclaim it to the world. But in this eon, our Gautama Buddha is the person who realized it in first time and it explained to the world with great compassion and wisdom. And also when we discuss the Buddha's message, it has a gradual path, order. Dana Katha, Sila Katha, Sagga Katha, so on. When Buddha met a person, first of all, the Buddha explains the very common things that other religions also discuss. Dana Katha about the generosity, Sila Katha about virtue, Sagga Katha how we go to a blissful life in the heavenly realm or Brahma realm, so on. That is the very common thing that Buddha explains firstly. After the audience are very silent and calmful, Buddha explained the other thing, Samukhansika Desana, very special message which is the unique for Buddhism. And also, Buddha's message has an order like this. In Paharada Sutta, Buddha says, this message has an order like the ocean. You know, the ocean deepens gradually from the beach to the deeper water. Buddha's message also like that. It goes to the deeper level step by step. Therefore, anyone can learn something and anyone can practice something according to their wisdom, according to their courage. That is why a lot of disciples are interested in practicing Dhamma. And also, when we see the Buddha's message in short, there is a very special stanza which comes in Dhammapada, Sabba Papa Sakaranam, Kusala Supa Sambada, so on. I think all of you know it. We discuss it. And also we discuss that Buddha's message, Buddha says, Yo Dhammam Passati, Somam Passati. He who sees the Dhamma, sees me. He who sees me, sees the Dhamma. And also in another way, Buddha says, Yo Patisampadam Passati, So Dhammam Passati. Yo Dhammam Passati, So Patisampadam Passati. He who sees the dependent origination, sees the Dhamma. He who sees the Dhamma, sees the dependent origination. That is also very important. Understanding the Patisampada is the way how we understand who the Buddha is. That is the main doctrine that comes in Buddhism. What is the Patisampada? Whenever we are ignorant, we are in the samsaric circle that ends with sorrow and lamentation. Whenever we are wise, we can overcome the samsaric circle. For that, we have to listen to Buddha's message And also we have to develop wisdom in 3 levels, which are Sutameya Panya, the wisdom of hearing, and the second one Chintamaya Panya, the wisdom of contemplating or thinking, and Bhavanamaya Panya, the wisdom of meditation. We have to practice this message in these 3 levels. The other thing is, when Buddha explained this message, sometimes while some disciples were listening to Dhamma, they could complete these 3 levels in the same time while they were listening to Dhamma. And the 5 ascetic people, the 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃, they realized the Dhamma, they attained Sotapanna while they were listening to Dhamma. Not only that, they attained enlightenment while they were listening to 𝒮𝓃 Sutta. That is why Buddha says, listening to Dhamma is a place where we liberate from suffering, according to 𝑉මුක්තායතන Sutta. Dhamma Savana. Dhamma Savana is a 𝑉මුක්තායතන, a place where we liberate from suffering. Not only that, the very important thing, preaching Dhamma also a place where we liberate. According to 𝒂𝐻𝐾 Sutta, while Bhante 𝒂𝐻𝐾 was preaching Dhamma, the audience attained enlightenment. There were 60 monks. While they were listening to Dhamma, they attained enlightenment. Not only that, very interesting thing, while Bhante 𝒂𝐻𝐾 was preaching Dhamma, he also attained the Nibbana, Aransi, end of the sermon. That is a very interesting discourse which comes in Samyutta Nikaya. Therefore, we have to practice these 3 levels of wisdom, Sutameya Panya, Chintamaya Panya, and Bhavanamaya Panya. We mostly think that we practice Bhavana while we were closing the eyes. Actually, that is not true. While we are opening our eyes, but opening our wisdom, we can attain enlightenment. We can develop wisdom. That is very important. No matter whatever we do, we should develop Sila, Samadhi, Panya. In short, mindfulness. That is very important. Here it is very important to understand what the ignorance is. Avidya. Avidya can be explained in various ways. In short, avidya means not knowing of the Four Noble Truths. In very simple way, that when we understand something in the material world, we think that there is something outside that we are experiencing just now. This is the nature of ignorance. It doesn't mean that there is no material world. Actually, there is a material world which consists with the 4 fundamental elements: earth element, water element, fire element, and air element. That material world depends on our senses, like eye, ear, nose, so on. Our senses depends on our mental situation. Our mental situation depends on our wisdom or ignorance. And also, when we think that there is something in the material world at this moment, that is the nature of ignorance. What is the wisdom? Wisdom means we can contact something in the present moment with the material world. But very important thing, when we recognize it, when we understand it, the very first experience, such as our eye form, eye contact, eye consciousness, which are in the vipaka level, the result level, everything has ceased. When we discuss this message, it is very important to understand Vibhanga Prakarana there in Jnana Vibhanga. It says very clearly, Panchahi Vijnanehi na kinchi dhammam pativijanati anyatra abhinipata matta. It means we are unable to recognize something completely through our 5 consciousnesses. Just contact. It means that the vipaka level means in the first experience, when we contact something, we get only color, only sound, only smell. We receive only the primary experience. We can see the color, but we can't see the robes. We can see the color, but we can't see the monks. We can listen to sound, very primary level sound, but we can't listen to the birds' sounds, the children's, our son's sounds, we can't listen. We recognize everything through our mind consciousness. When we understand something through our mind consciousness, the very first experience, our 6 senses, 6 external objects, 6 consciousnesses in the vipaka level, all of them have ceased. If we have this understanding, as soon as we see this reality, living in mindfulness completely, as soon as we understand something, we come to insight. What happens to my mind at this moment? Coming to insight means vipassana, insight. It means we understand the material world has ceased, then we see the world as empty. 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃. It doesn't mean that we don't think there is no world. That is an extreme. According to 𝒮𝓾 Sutta, if a person thinks that there is a world, that is an extreme. If a person thinks that there is no world, that is an extreme. Without going to these both extremes, we understand the Dhamma based on the dependent origination. Iti imasmin satidang hoti, when this is. Imasmin asatidang hoti, when this is not, this is not. This is the foundation of our understanding of wisdom. Buddha says very clearly, if a person sees the arising of 5 aggregates, he doesn't go to the extreme of nihilism or Uchedavada. If a person sees the cessation of 5 aggregates, he doesn't go to the extreme of Sasatavada, eternalism. Without going to these extremes, the wise person recognizes the world as it is according to what the Buddha taught. This belongs to the ultimate truth that directly helps us to overcome the samsaric circle. If a person has this understanding and confidence in what the Blessed One explains, our inner motivation gradually develops. Why is that? If we know this reality, we really understand whenever we are ignorant, we are in the samsaric circle which will end with decay, death, sickness, sorrow, lamentation. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes get suffering. Therefore, we have inner courage to overcome this circle, samsaric circle, with practice. Then we have inner motivation, virya. The person who has this confidence in what the Buddha explained, his inner courage, effort gradually increases to the maximum level that says as virya, saddha virya. As a result of virya, we practice mindfulness. As a result of practicing mindfulness for a long time with some meditation techniques belongs to samatha bhavana, we become concentration, reducing hindrances. When mind gains concentration, since we have already heard about the Four Noble Truths, then we reflect on arising and ceasing of five aggregates, which belongs to panya. Saddha, virya, sati, samadhi, panya, the five spiritual faculties. We were discussing these things, and also the very special thing when we listening to Dhamma, especially as monks and nuns, when someone explains something, we should understand whether that person explains the thing which belongs to the conventional truth or the ultimate truth. That is very important. If a person explains dana, sila, metta, bhavana, that is common, that belongs to conventional truth. But especially when we have heard the Dhamma, we know the truth. We know the Four Noble Truths. Even though we practice very simple meritorious act, we have a vision about our final goal. What is the final goal? Releasing from the material and mental world. Liberating from mentality and corporeality. 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃 ℮ රූප සංඥංච 𝒮𝓃 ℮𝒾. If a person has overcome mentality and corporeality, understanding the contact, he can overcome the suffering. As a real disciple, we usually practice this path with this understanding. That is why the Buddha says very clearly, ඥානතෝ අහං භික්ඛවේ පස්සතෝ ආසවානං khayam vadami no ajanato no apassato. I proclaim the liberation for those who know the path, who see the path. And also Buddha says, samma ditti purejavan. Right understanding is first. Correct vision is the forerunner. We do everything having this understanding. No matter whatever we do, we have this vision. This is our spiritual dream, releasing from the material and mental world. Arahantas, they have liberated from 4 nutriments, 4 foods, 4 ahara, satarahara. Arahantas have overcome even 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃. What is the 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃? The material food that we usually take. Having overcome the material food Arahantas are eating. Arahantas are begging for food. They have already overcome 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃. What is that? They have overcome the material world. What is that? It means they don't depend on the material world. they can eat something. As soon as they taste something, they know very well everything has, the material world has ceased. When they recognize the taste of the food, they understand very well. They understand everything through their mind consciousness. They don't depend on anything in the material world. Okay, friends in the Dhamma, now you can ask some questions and we can share our knowledge. We have our Bhantes who have experience, who have done some researches, and we really appreciate your participation. We can discuss. Have any question? Our nuns? Bhante Dhammaratana? Bhante Sadajiva? Have any question? Have any suggestions and thoughts about this topic? I think sometimes you may have to add something. We talked a lot, but we talked a little. We discussed the qualities of the Dhamma, 𝒮𝓃, well expounded, 𝒮𝓃, visible results, 𝒂𝐾𝐾, immediately effective, 𝐂𝐻𝐵, calling one to come and see, 𝒮𝓃, leading onwards, and 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃, to be personally realized by the wise. As the result of this practice, in one side, we should be sure that we never fall into a hell. That is the very first confidence that we should gain by listening and practicing Dhamma. For that, we have to practice Dhamma again and again. The Buddha says in 𝒮𝓃 Sutta, there are 8 meritorious streams, which are: he who goes to the Buddha for refuge, Dhamma for refuge, Sangha for refuge. These 3 things are meritorious streams, meritorious rivers, Ganga, and also practicing 5 precepts: abstaining from taking life, abstaining from stealing, abstaining from sexual misconduct, abstaining from foul speech, abstaining from intoxicating drinks and drugs. These 5 things are also meritorious rivers, streams. If a person has confidence in the triple gem and about his practice, especially 5 precepts, he is sure that never fallen into a hell. As the disciples of the Buddha, first of all, we should make this confidence. One day, 𝐻𝐼𝐸𝐴𝐻𝐾 came to Buddha and asked Bhante, when I am with the Bhante Samma Sambuddha and also when I am with monks, my Kalyan Mitra, I am so happy, I am very calmful. But when I go to my palace, I have very complex jobs, duties. Sometimes my mind is very upset. I have to punish some people in my palace. Whenever I face those situations, if I die, what happens to my next life? He asked a question, the Buddha. Then Buddha says, 𝒻𝐻, you have practiced 5 qualities for a long time. Saddha, 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃. Saddha, Sila, Sutta, Tyaga, Pañña. You have practiced these 5 qualities for a long time. You surely go to a blissful life hereafter, even though you will die in a very complex situation. This is the protection, refuge that we have as disciples of the Buddha. Therefore, in every day, we should contemplate on the triple gem again and again. And also we should remember the main doctrines in Buddhism, such as 5 precepts, Metta Bhavana, and especially mindfulness, reflecting on impermanence, which belongs to Panya. If we have these qualities, we can be confident in that we never fall into a hell. That is the real refuge, protection we can make in this dispensation of the Buddha. Have any question? Even in Sinhala, Bhantes can ask.
Bhante, here, 𝒮𝓃 is translated as leading onwards.
Yes.
So, leading onwards means leading towards Nibbana, or what do you mean by that?
Yes, one meaning is, I think, that leading on the path of liberation. The other one is, we should see the results by doing ourselves. අප වෙත පමුණුවාගෙන ප්‍රතිඵල දකින්නට ඕන. ඒක පච්චත්තං වේදිතබ්බෝ විඤ්ඤෝහි also like that. Yes, the thing is, sometimes we go to the external world in order to find the persons who have liberated. We can't never see the persons in the outside. If we want to see the results, we should develop within us. When we practice Dhamma, through our practice, we can see the results in our life. Leading onwards, leading inward sometimes. Venerable Methananda, can you explain something about it?
Naika means actually leading, right? Leading or moving. Yeah. Is it Upanayika or is it closer to Nibbana? Can we say that?
සාමාන්‍යයෙන් සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ තමන් වෙත පමුණුවාගෙන ප්‍රතිඵල බලන්න ඕන කියලා.
But if we say leading towards Nibbana, it makes sense.
Yes, that also we can say.
I have something to get all the universe of one you mentioned the enlightenment of the Buddhas gone beyond the 𝒮𝓃 whatever we consume as material things. Then, somewhere in a particular discourse, we found that Buddha says he is one of the persons who feel more sensitively the taste of the food. Then how we can distinguish, we can
Yes.
apply this to mean how enlightenment taste the food and going beyond these material things.
Yes, that is a good question. According to Sammaditthi Sutta, it says there are 16 ways how to achieve the Sammaditthi. One of them is that understanding the ahara, nutriments of food. Not only that, there it explains the way how to overcome these 4 nutriments, the path, the Noble Eightfold Path. It is very clear that we should overcome these 4 nutriments when we attain enlightenment. That means we can taste. The taste is not the problem. The problem is when we taste, if we depend on the material world, that is the problem. That is the cause of suffering. Now, when we eat something, when we enjoy some food, our mind depends on the food. Our mind depends on the material world. Arahants also can taste. The thing is, they know very well. When they taste something, the very primary experience, the taste has ceased. They recognize it through their mind consciousness. With this understanding, they can explain not only this one, but even they listening to some sounds. When the Buddha met the musician, then Buddha said, "Your music is so nice." Buddha realized very clearly that sound has already ceased. Buddha knew very well. Now when he explained it, he dealt with the mind and mental formations. Then Buddha's mind doesn't depend on anything in the material world. That's the difference. We can do it mindfully and wisely. And also we can do the same thing unwisely and unmindfully. Whenever we explain it ignorantly, it means we explained it in the samsaric circle, then, papancha or phenomena arises. That is the thing which is coming, 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃. There says, 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓀𝒶. That is the 𝒮𝓄දය සත්‍ය. Avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnana. All of these steps don't belong to the vipaka level. After they receive the vipaka, when they recognize something, then they have taken their eye, form, eye consciousness, everything. Those things belong to the parts of the Patisampada, the different origination. Sometimes we explain that we have chakku, it is vipaka level. When we go to vipaka, vedana, then after we overcome vipaka or results or feelings, we can control the things. We have no tanha, we stop in the vedana. But according to 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃, they are the parts, the very first step explains the origin of suffering, 𝒮𝓄දය සත්‍ය. Very interesting thing. The second part, when there is no I, no form, no eye consciousness, then no prapancha. It starts from the beginning. When chakku is not there, it means arhantas have no chakku in this sense. In the vipaka level, they have I. But when they come to the 𝒮𝓄දය සත්‍ය, that belongs to the Patisampada, salayatana, they have overcome salayatana nirodha. Salayatana nirodha means that belongs to the 𝒮𝓄දය සත්‍ය, not the dukkha satya. In the 𝒮𝓄දය සත්‍ය, avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnana, vijnana paccaya nama rupam, all the things belong to the origin of suffering, 𝒮𝓄දය සත්‍ය. Those things should be overcome. I should be overcome. That is why Buddha says, chakkum pahatabbam, rupam pahatabbam, and chakku vijnanam pahatabbam. What is that? It is not in the vipaka level, result level. It belongs to after the vipaka level cease, in the second level, in the new karma, that based on ignorance, that should be overcome. There were some ascetic people when Buddha lived. They taught their disciples in order to overcome the first experience. Indriya Bhavana Sutta, Uttaramanavaka, the disciple of Parasariya, he teaches his pupils, disciples, don't see something, don't hear something, don't smell something. That is the discipline, that's the liberation. Did Buddha accept it? No, Buddha didn't accept it. They taught their pupils, they are students, in order to overcome the very first experience. But the first experience is not the problem. The problem is the second experience, that after we receive the first experience in the vipaka level, we come to the next level. We create the new karma based on ignorance. That is the problem. That is the cause of suffering. That should be overcome. The very first truth that belongs to the dukkha satya, the noble truth of suffering, should be understood. The second truth, the noble truth of the origin of suffering, should be overcome. Samudaya satyang pahatabam. The second truth should be overcome. That is the thing that we should do. Arhantas enjoy food. Arhantas appreciate other sounds and music without depending on the material world based on ignorance. They completely have 𝒶𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃 vimutti. Every moment, without any space, they are fully mindful and wise. Even anagami, non-returning, they can do it. They take some period in order to realize it. But Arhantas completely, as soon as they see something, they hear, they taste, whatever they experience through their five senses, they immediately come to insight. Having this understanding and mindfulness, they can appreciate. They can reject something. They can punish someone. They can advise someone. Yes.
As Monday said, others can enjoy food. And okay, we can enjoy food too. And at the same time, we are not, I understand that, but how about enjoy when it is nice and good? If it is not good, like, okay, it's a bad music or bad taste.
Yes, good question. That is very important. It explains in Indriya Bhavana Sutta. Arhantas, Bhavitindriya person who has completely eradicated ignorance, they can 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃 ℒ𝒶 viharati. So tatheva, if he has experienced 𝒮𝓃 means beautiful or pleasant. If he has pleasant experience, if he needs to concentrate it as unpleasant, he can do it. If he wants to concentrate some pleasant experience as pleasant, he can do it. Not only that, Buddha says, if a person has unpleasant experience, if he wants to change it as pleasant, he can do it. Not only that, keeping his mind completely in wisdom, if he wants to concentrate it as neutral, he can do it. That's the difference of the Arhantas. 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶 නැති විදියටත් මෙනෙහි කරන්න පුළුවන්. නැත්නම් පිළිකුල් විදියට මෙනෙහි කරන්න පුළුවන්. පිළිකුල් දේ නොපිළිකුල් විදියට මෙනෙහි කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ දෙකම දුරු කළොත් නම් තනිකරම එම්ප්ටිනස් එකට හිත තියලා උපේක්ෂාවෙන් මෙනෙහි කරන්න පුළුවන්. බාහිර ලෝකයේ දැන් නිරුද්ධ වෙලා කියලා. That is the difference of the Arhantas. Because he has completely controlled his mind, eradicating all the defilements. If you read Indriya Bhavana Sutta, the last discourse of Madhyama Nikaya, 152, the last discourse of Madhyama Nikaya, Indriya Bhavana Sutta explains the attitude of Arahanta. He can appreciate something, but he does everything mindfully and wisely. According to the Loka Vyavahara, Buddha says very clearly, if someone says there is something, Buddha says, I also say there is something. If the ordinary people say something, there is no in the world, Buddha says, I also agreed. According to conventional truth, Buddha agreed with them. But when Buddha comes to the highest level, ultimate truth, sometimes Buddha was silent. That is why sometimes some people ask, Bhante, if there are birth after death, Buddha was silent. No birth, Buddha was silent. That belongs to the ultimate truth. But in sometimes Buddha has explained very clearly, Punyan ke puriso kaira, kaira te tampuna punantami chandan kaira te suko punya sutsyo. Buddha has explained something based on the conventional truth. How do we succeed our samsaric circle? Buddha says, Gabba meke uppajjanti, niryan papakamino, saggan sugatino yanti, parinibbanti anasava. Having this explanation very clearly in one side based on the conventional truth. On the other side, when someone asks the Buddha, is there a birth after death? Buddha was silent. Why is that? If that person who is asking the questions, if that person comes to some wrong views, Buddha was silent. Having this highest understanding, Buddha could live with the normal people. You know, like our mother or father, sometimes they play with their kids. They make some very small houses. They play. They make some, sellambat. But mentally, they are not doing it. Physically, they are playing with the children, with the kids. Their mentality is very different. Like that. The Buddhas and Arahants also like that. Any other questions? Even in Sinhala you can ask, it's okay.
According to depending origination, depending on the basis, contact in this explanation doesn't match with the Can you give brief explanations about these explanations? What does it mean?
Salayatana and other parts of the Patisampada, ascending order, there explains all things as the new karma based on ignorance. Avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnana, so on. That is the thing that we should understand. The same words we can see another place. Salayatana. Even Arahants have Salayatana. That Salayatana and that Salayatana which comes in Patisampada are different. Vijnana. Vijnana there we can see in Patisampada too. According to Mahavedala Sutta, when Visakha Upasaka asks questions from Arahant Dhammadinna, wherever there is vijnana or consciousness, there can we see the wisdom. Whenever we see the wisdom, can we see the consciousness or vijnana. Arahant Dhammadinna says, wherever there is panya or wisdom, we can see consciousness too. That consciousness, vijnana, is different from the consciousness which comes in Patisampada. Even Arahants have vijnana. That vijnana completely based on panya. the other thing is, when we discuss Patisampada, it is very important to understand. When we discuss avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnanam, the part, when we discuss some part, we should take only that part. For example, avidya paccaya sankhara. There we should not add vijnana or consciousness. When we discuss avidya paccaya sankhara, we should discuss avidya paccaya sankhara concept. There, Buddha has focused on those parts. For an example, when we call you monks, nuns, here you are monks and nuns. It is here explanation. When you go home, when you are near your parents, then they may say that, my son, my daughter. There it is another concept. When you go to a hospital, you are a patient. You are not a monk or nun. Like that, when we discuss the parts of the Patisampada, we should take that part directly. And also the other thing, even though there is one part, everywhere we can see the five aggregates, but they are invisible. Buddha wanted to explain very special thing at that point in order to understand this reality. Everywhere, whenever we have avidya, there are five aggregates. Whenever we have sankhara, there are five aggregates. Whenever we discuss vijnana, which is in Patisampada, there also we have five aggregates. They cling into five aggregates. But Buddha wanted to realize especially what he has given in the Patisampada circle. And also in the same names, there are other meanings too. We should be very careful when we explain some words such as sparsha or contact, vedana, sanya, cetana, manasikara. When we discuss these five words, we should be very, 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 very careful. Why is that? These words are same, but the meanings are different according to context. In vipaka level, passa, vedana, sanya, cetana, manasikara, nama, anta. Whenever consciousness arises, immediately these five things arise at the moment. ēkopada nirodhaca, ekalambana vattuka. Whenever consciousness, these five things are together. In the vipaka level, in the new karma level based on ignorance, even in the arahantas, even who are practicing the Noble Eightfold Path, samatha vipassana, everywhere we can see these five things. Sparsha or passa contact, vedana feeling, sanya perception, cetana mental formations, manasikara contemplating or thinking or like that. These five things can be seen everywhere. If someone asks you, Bhante, what is sanya? If it is bad, should you overcome it? How do we say it? In the vipaka level, that is neither pleasant nor unpleasant. That is neither wholesome nor unwholesome. In the vipaka level, that is neutral. When it comes to the navakarma level, which belongs to the samudaya satya, avidya paccaya sankhara, there we can see sanya. That should be maricha upama sanya. That should be overcome. That should be reduced. Another place we can say, Buddha says in Girmananda Sutta, we should cultivate, develop dasa sanya. Anicca sanya, anatta sanya, asubha sanya, adina sanya. Bhavetabba, magga satya. There also we should cultivate sanya perception. That is the wholesome sanya. And also, whenever Arahants are living, because of their consciousness, still they are living. They are living mindfully and wisely. They also have sanya. That sanya neither pleasant nor unpleasant, that completely based on wisdom and mindfulness. That belongs to Nirodha Satya. Therefore, when we explain these 5 words, they are phassa, contact, vedana, feelings, sanya, perception, cetana, mental formations, manasikara, contemplating or thinking. These 5 words are very important. Their meanings are different from place to place. Yes.
This is the one sanya is defiant.
Yes. Some are wholesome, some are unwholesome, some are neutral, some are based on panya. The word is same, but meaning is different from place to place.
Yes, and then another, the sanya is
Pure sanya, yes. Pure sanya. When we practice magga satya, when we practice Aryaṭṭaṅgika magga, the Noble Eightfold Path, their sanya is pure. They help us to overcome ignorance. And also, the sanya which belongs to Nirodha Satya that Arahants use, that is completely pure, since they have completely eradicated ignorance.
That is called phassa and sanya.
Yes, phassa, sanya, manasikara, cetana, vedana. These 5 things arise together. They cease together with consciousness. According to Abhidhamma, it says, ēkuppada nirodhaca ēkalambana vattuka. Whenever consciousness arises, these 5 things also immediately arise at the moment together. That is the nature of their meanings. Okay, later we will discuss again. Okay, in these days we will talk them again and again. Okay, thank you for your asking questions.
One more question.
Yes.
But the Arahant was born in this world, so they end up suffering and then they liberate in this world, right? So, but why still they have one concept? Arahant has been not rebirth in this world. It's been go somewhere else. Yeah. I heard some monks they believe that Arahants not rebirth in this world.
Actually, Arahants have liberated from ignorance completely, but still, since they have aggregates, pancha khanda, they have no pancha upadana khanda, they have no clinging to 5 aggregates, but they have aggregates that they receive when they were born. As their karmic energy, when they were born in this world, they receive 5 aggregates. Until they pass away, they have those things. When we put off the switch of the fan, immediately it doesn't stop. It goes again and again, few moments. Like that.
Asking in some traditions, Arahants are not fully enlightened, they will rebirth.
Yes, according to Theravada tradition, we believe that when they attain enlightenment, they are fully awakened, they are fully liberated. They have completely eradicated all the defilements, according to Theravada tradition. But some Mahayana traditions, they believe that arahantship is a temporary liberation. Later they need to become the Samma Sambuddha. That is other religious, parts that they believe. According to Theravada tradition, we have 3 places to attain enlightenment. By attaining Samma Sambuddha, 𝒮𝓃 Buddha or Arahanta. Sutta Buddha, 𝒮𝓃 Buddha and Samma Sambuddha. There are 3 levels of Arahantas according to Theravada tradition. Samma Sambuddha also has the 𝒂𝐴𝑠avakkaya ඥාන when he attains Samma Sambuddha. But he has very special energies such as Shadasadharana ඥාන, he has very special psychic energies. But he also same to Arahant because the 𝒂𝐴savakkaya ඥාන is same. For the Buddha, for the 𝒮𝓃 Buddha and for the Arahantas, the 𝒂𝐴savakkaya ඥාන, the knowledge of eradicating defilements is same to 3 persons according to Theravada tradition. What we believe? If a person can eradicate ignorance completely, he is fully enlightened. But until he passed away, he have to face some physical problems, but mentally he is completely healthy. Physical pains he receive, but even though he receive pains, he understand very well. He recognizes those physical pains through his mind consciousness. And also, understanding this reality, he can take some medicine too in order to cure some physical illnesses. Even Buddha has taken some medicine from Dr. 𝒮𝓾. That is common. But don't worry about your tradition or about other tradition. We usually focus on Theravada tradition. According to Theravada tradition, if a person can become the arahantship, 𝒂𝐴savakkaya ඥාන, by arahant level, we believe that that is fully enlightened.
There is no rebirth.
No rebirth.
But you mentioned that the Buddha was silent sometimes, that when somebody asks. So how do we have to answer if somebody asks, what's happening?
That is not for the arahantas, but for the common satta. It is satta, according to ultimate truth, we can tell that, we can say that even the 𝒮𝓾 person will be reborn. It doesn't mean that another person will be reborn. Actually, in that case, Buddha was silent. Since, if Buddha say that there is a rebirth, that person maybe has misunderstanding. That he believed that according to Sasvatavada, eternity, he believed that the same person goes to the next birth. That is why Buddha was silent. Sometimes if Buddha said that Arahantas has no birth after passing away, Arahanta, normal person, he may misunderstanding that there is nothing after passing away. He may go to an extreme, which is 𝒮𝓃. That is why Buddha was silent.
So what is your suggestion if somebody asks,
Yes, we can tell, according to conventional truth, we have rebirth. According to, 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃 ℮𝒏𝑘𝑤𝑒 sansaro pubbākodina paññāyati. Buddha explains very clearly, we have a very long journey from birth to birth. That based on the conventional truth. But when we say the ultimate truth, according to ultimate truth, we don't say there is birth or there is no birth. Venerable Sati, he said that there is a consciousness which goes from birth to birth. Buddha advised him, Sati, I never have said that the consciousness goes from birth to birth. Even from moment to moment, the same consciousness doesn't go. How I tell that the consciousness goes to next birth after dying? Therefore, we can explain something according to conventional truth and the ultimate truth. And also, sometimes we can see some disciples who came to Buddha, they didn't believe next life, but they wanted to overcome suffering in this moment. That is why they came to Buddha. Buddha directly explained how they can overcome suffering, how they can overcome sorrow and lamentation. According to 𝒮𝓃 Sutta, 𝒮𝓃 says that how he became a monk. What are the reasons that he became a monk? There we can see the rebirth or next birth. Upaniyati loko addo, atthano loko anabissaro, assako loko sabban pahe gamaniyan, uno loko atitto tanha daso. All things depend on this immediate world. That is why he became a monk and he attained enlightenment. But sometimes Buddha says very clearly, because of 3 reasons, I explain this path. Because of 3 reasons, we should find a spiritual teacher and his sublime message. What they are: aging or decay, death, and jati, birth. Because of these 3 reasons, we should find a spiritual teacher and his sublime message. There Buddha explained the jati, or rebirth or birth. Even though some persons don't believe next birth, they want to overcome suffering. They want the satisfaction. They want to live happily. Then we can explain the path. Okay, thank you for your listening to and discussing Dhamma. By the power of this spiritual discussion, Dhamma discussion, we bless all of you. May all your spiritual and educational goals meet with success. Finally, all of us attain the supreme bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkham pantāca niddukkha, bhayam pantāca nidbhayam, sokam pantāca nissokā, hontu sabbe pipānino. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.